Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I have a different style of video for you guys. We're actually going to be discussing an element of the game that has seen very little attention during the 10-year life of World of Tanks console, and that is competitive. Now just wait a moment, I see some of you already reaching for your controllers and remotes to switch the video, but please, just keep watching, because even if you're not interested in tournaments, I hope you'll find our discussion of more casually competitive modes like ranked battles a bit more appealing. So sit back, enjoy, and let's dive into it. For those of you unfamiliar with competitive modes in World of Tanks, let me give you a brief history on the topic. Competitive hit the big stage on PC in early 2013, when World of Tanks Pro League began. After 4 successful seasons, this was rebranded in late 2014 to Wargaming.net League, aka WGL. WGL operated in 4 regions, CIS, EU, NA, and APAC, and followed a league format in which teams played within their region, and the top teams from each region would be invited to larger LAN tournaments to compete internationally. These LAN tournaments were pretty similar to the ones you might know today from watching professional play in other games. They had teams playing on a stage in front of a live audience, much like any majors today. These leagues operated until the end of 2017, when WGL was ultimately discontinued. It was during this era, though, that competitive on what console began to take shape, but more on that in a minute. So why did WGL die? The fact is, there are a multitude of reasons that led to the demise of the largest scale tournaments in World of Tanks. The main reason was the return on investment. Between organization cost and tournament pricing being in the tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, it was just not financially viable to continue such a large-scale operation, despite the very high interest in viewership at international events. Another reason is that the game was in an early state. WGL came and went within the first 5 years of the game's release on PC. Not many players had gotten the opportunity to reach tier 10 on every tech tree. In addition, there was a significant difference between the format of random battles and tournament battles, with different team sizes and completely new game mode. Without a middle ground to familiarize players with these rule changes, it was difficult for super casual players to follow and understand. With the demise of WGL, the Clan Wars format took over the competitive scene for years to come. After watching the success of early years of WGL, some members of the console community began putting on tournaments. In January 2016, the first World of Tanks community tournament began, and more followed in spring and summer. These events were advertised on the official forums and had mild turnout. Later that year, with more assistance from Wargaming, the first World of Tanks Community League began and saw huge success with 123 participating teams. Over the next 2 years, the league hosted 2 more tournaments with slightly different formats. With some changes within Wargaming's community team, support for the league was lost. Over the next couple of years, a number of community-run tournaments came and went, with various levels of success. Official Wargaming-supported tournaments did not return until Wizard and the CIS region community team began hosting tournaments and global map events. Unfortunately, with Wargaming dissolving its CIS offices in early 2022, the tournaments too came to a halt. While tournaments have returned once again, they are a shell of what they once were. Lackluster pricing and drawn-out events have led to fatigue and left many players wondering if the game is even worth still playing. So, where do we go from here, you may be wondering? Well, in my opinion, we need a serious reform to tournaments. The current 3-month-long, 1 game per weekend model just doesn't cut it. There is such a disparity between teams at different skill levels that 90% of games just become a formality, as the result is known before any shots are fired. Returning to the short-form tournaments that the CIS team hosted in the past would be a refreshing way to have engaging tournaments that give players breaks and time to rest. Condensing a tournament down into a 2 to 3 weekend event would require playing multiple matches per weekend, and fewer rounds per match for non-playoff games. This would allow more variety each weekend and less predictable matches, as with fewer rounds, there's a higher chance for an upset to occur. This also means that games would have to be at predetermined times, which would eliminate the hassle for teams to schedule matches. Of course, longer series for the playoff games would ensure a competitive experience is maintained, and those unfortunate to not advance would be able to enjoy more entertaining matches on stream. These short-form tournaments would be perfect given the current seasonal content model, as they can be hosted toward the end of the season, filling a gap of time that usually doesn't see much new content. In addition to overall tournament structure, pricing is in serious need of revamp. The competitive scene is naturally dominated by very active, veteran players. You can expect these types of players to complete any and all in-game events, whether that be season passes, vehicle earn-ops, or other specials. Why do I bring this up? Historically, the big ticket items in tournament pricing have been premium tanks, premium time, and gold. While players can appreciate any support in the form of prizing, These items are not in the best interest for the players or for wargaming. Competitive players are very dedicated to the game. So dedicated, in fact, they often have no problem supporting the game with monetary transactions. They buy season passes, premium tanks that catch their eye, and certainly premium time if they're doing any silver or XP grinding. By only offering these options as pricing, wargaming is losing out on potential sales. Additionally, these items are readily available for purchase. Competitive players may not see these items as high-value rewards that are worth their time and investment in tournaments. This is why tournament-exclusive cosmetics would be an excellent alternative for the most hardcore players. A unique camouflage that is only available from official tournaments would give something for the best players to show off in-game while avoiding the plague of issues World of Tanks PC introduced with Clan War rewards vehicles. In addition to camouflages, emblems and garage gear could also be offered as even more opportunities for players to customize their experience and show off their feats in the most competitive matches in the game. Of course, neither the current price structure nor a full cosmetic structure would satisfy all players. This leads me to my next topic, the tournament store. The tournament store would be a virtual storefront that offers a variety of in-game goods and cosmetics at varied prices. Rather than earning specific pricing packages, tournaments would reward a special form of currency. In my example, this currency is called Spoils of War. These spoils can be used to purchase items from the tournament store. This allows for a full customization of pricing to suit each team individually. This is also a great way to reward teams for their commitment to tournaments, by allowing them to save up spoils across multiple events in order to redeem higher cost items that would be otherwise unattainable. Of course, this would require tournament coordinators with oversight from Wargaming to keep track of teams' points. Since this would require manual crediting from Wargaming staff, the tournament shop would only be open for a limited time after each event to keep the workload to a minimum. This structure would encourage teams to play in more events, as even small amounts of spoils could bring teams closer to their prizing goal. The customizable reward structure would benefit teams at all levels, because even teams that place poorly in tournaments can be rewarded with very little amounts of spoils, which isn't possible with the current pricing package system. Now you might be wondering, with tournaments taking a shorter structure and only occurring once per season, how will players get their competitive fix? Aside from the presence of unprized community tournaments that would be given breathing room with the changes we discussed, a more casual experience could make its return. Ranked Battles was a popular event mode that made frequent appearances before Update 6.0. Though many view those times with rose-tinted glasses, there were a number of serious issues that were never addressed. But before we take a look at those, let's discuss what made Ranked Battles a successful game mode. Firstly, it was a change of pace. The 7v7 format meant that there were fewer tanks on the battlefield than in the random battles, and thus more space on the map to work with. Map control was a crucial key to success, which meant light tanks and medium tanks had a more prevalent role in the game compared to in random battles, which can often feel a bit suffocating, especially for light tanks on certain maps. In some iterations of ranked battles, artillery and tank destroyers were disabled, which allowed for fairer fights and fewer frustrating moments. For better players, ranked battles was an environment that could be played casually. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but let me break down why that's the case. To start, battles were not tracked and did not count toward your stats. This meant that players that really pushed themselves in random battles for higher DPGs or marks of excellence did not have to worry about their progress inside of the ranked battles mode. With the format being 7v7, individual player skill also mattered more. A very good player would not have to worry as much about things that are out of their control, like their team positioning or being outnumbered by multiple tanks, because their individual skill and plays were more likely to carry them in the smaller skirmishes. Another reason Ranked was a great addition to the game was because it gave players, particularly those playing Tier 10 vehicles, something to grind for. Tier 10 is the pinnacle tier of the game, but once you reach it, there is very little reason to play it. It has poor economy, and your XP earns are largely meaningless outside of a few tanks that have alternate gun upgrades. The latter system of ranked battles gave a purpose to play the game, with relatively lucrative prizing in the form of war chests and ranked battles exclusive camouflages and emblems, as well as double silver income. The grind to reach higher ranks was intense. The in-game leaderboard also gave an opportunity for players to show off to their friends and clanmates. While these positives are widely remembered today, let's also discuss what changes would be necessary for future success of ranked battles. In the past, ranked battles were only available for 1 weekend at a time. This meant you had to invest a lot of time while ranked was live in order to reach the higher leagues. In future renditions, ranked battles should be extended to the entire season. To combat potential low population issues, ranked battles should only be active during peak hours of the day for each server, much like Onslaught is on PC. This could be a 3 to 4 hour window per day during the week and slightly longer window on the weekend. Another issue with the old ranked system was the way you progressed through the ranks. Points were almost completely win-based, with very slight differences based on match leaderboard rankings. Personal performance was never significantly rewarded. While I understand winning is the name of the game, I feel like doing a ridiculous amount of damage or getting a lot of kills should be more rewarding, particularly on wins. The older system also had a point surplus every round, which meant that every game there were more points being rewarded than those being lost. This ultimately meant the top rank was achievable for anyone, which led to ranked battles events being more of a grind rather than a test of skill. While I don't mind this concept, considering tournaments are a better test of skill for the best players, I think that old iterations of ranked were a bit too easy. A point surplus in match is alright, but bringing the points earned on the winning team closer in line to the points lost on the losing team would be beneficial for the overall health and longevity of the game mode. I would also like to see another rank added that contains the top 5 or 10% of players in the highest rank, much like the Legend rank in Onslaught on PC. The final feature that was missing in previous ranked battles is the ability to platoon with friends. Platooning is a powerful tool, and we already know how significant their influence on a battle can be, from the removal of 5-man platoons in random battles. There are a couple of ways platoons can be implemented in ranked battles. The first two are present in Onslaught on PC. Players can queue in platoons of 2 and fight other platoons of 2 or solos, or they can platoon in groups of 7 called super platoons, and play against other super platoons. While I do like this idea, I do not believe console would have the population to support both queues at the same time, particularly the super platoon queue, while also ensuring teams are not playing each other multiple matches in a row. As a compromise, the size of super platoons could be reduced to 5 players. They would still retain the ability to match against other super platoons, but they could also be paired against teams of 7 consisting of solos and 2-man platoons. While a 2-tank deficit is significant, the teamwork and communication, along with cohesive tank lineups, should be enough to keep the matches fair. I am sure we've all had days where we hop on the game excited to play, but our experience falls far below our expectations. Whether it be bad teams, getting stuck on a bad map rotation, or getting focused by artillery or players you might know, it can be difficult to keep up the motivation to play. Ranked battles can provide that motivation as well as an escape from some of the issues I have highlighted, in addition to being a great way to bridge the gap between the random battles and tournament play. When you look at popular multiplayer games, it is difficult to find one that doesn't contain competitive elements. Competitive modes keep players motivated and validate the time investment they put into the game. The lack of an in-game competitive mode and the outdated tournament structure is only harming World of Tanks consoles' longevity in the gaming market. As many of you know, competitive has been a big reason I've stuck with the game for so long. I've met so many amazing people from a variety of backgrounds, and I'm sure many of you share a similar experience as me. If you have, be sure to let me know in the comments, and let me know if there's anything I may have missed. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace. In the past, ranked battles were only available for one weekend at a time. This meant you had to invest a lot of time while ranked was live in order to reach the highest leagues. In future renditions, fuck you, Cuba, man, you fucking bitch, you fucking invite me and then that pops up on stream? Damn it.